Richard Ramirez was born on February 29, 1960, in El Paso, Texas, into a family of 8, including his parents and 6 children, who experienced many difficulties and upheavals in the past. Richard's father, Julian Ramirez, was a mechanic. His mother, Mercedes Ramirez, was a homemaker, staying at home to take care of the family. According to people who knew the family, Julian was described as a friendly man, but also sometimes abusive and frequently harassed his children. Mercedes was also frequently beaten by her husband. Ramirez had 5 siblings, including 2 younger brothers and 3 sisters. The family was poor with many children, living in difficult conditions and often facing financial hardship. Stress and family conflicts were common. Growing up in such a family, many believe this contributed to Ramirez being influenced and shaping into a cruel person, causing many tragic deaths of innocent people. However, these hardships cannot explain or justify the horrific crimes this serial killer committed. The killer experienced a childhood of abuse, being beaten by his father. Yet, the person said to have directly influenced his later, brutal murderous behavior was his cousin Mike, a U.S. veteran who fought in Vietnam. Mike showed Ramirez Polaroid pictures of the bodies of victims he had killed in the war. Some photos even showed severed heads. Ramirez was also present when Mike shot and killed his wife. Ramirez became addicted to drugs and started stealing at the age of 10. After the shooting incident, he became more deeply involved in using stimulants and joining a cult. After escaping a rape conviction due to witnesses not daring to testify in court, Richard began walking down the path of evil. Mentioning Richard, people in California immediately remember one of the cold-blooded killers of the 1980s in the U.S. DNA evidence showed. Ramirez was linked to the murder of a 9-year-old girl on April 10, 1984. Many believe this might have been his first murder. On June 28, 1984, he killed 79-year-old Jenny Vincow. Not only did he stab and sexually assault the victim, Ramirez also mutilated the body. On March 17, 1985, a woman named Maria Hernandez was attacked at her home. While Hernandez escaped, her roommate Dale Okazaki wasn't as lucky and became a victim of the killer. He didn't stop there. He shot and killed another victim named Cillian Yu that same evening. More than a week later, Ramirez murdered Vincent Zazera, 64, and his wife Maxine, 44. The killer began forming a characteristic attack pattern, shooting and killing the husband, then attacking and stabbing the wife to death. Ramirez continued hunting and killing many victims in the following months, causing fear and terror among people across California. One of the most terrifying things about Ramirez was his willingness to kill anyone he encountered. Unlike some other serial killers with specific target patterns, Richard Ramirez didn't exclude anyone, whether male or female, old or young. At first, Ramirez seemed to only attack people near Los Angeles, but later he was also believed to have killed a few victims in neighboring areas. Many murders also had satanic elements, like Ramirez carving a 5-pointed star on victims' bodies or making them swear about their love for Satanism. After being arrested, Ramirez was charged with 13 counts of murder. He also had to answer for several rapes, assaults, and thefts. Ramirez was sentenced to death in the gas chamber. He was held at San Quentin prison for the rest of his life, but wasn't executed due to the complexity of the case, including a 50,000-page trial record. The Supreme Court didn't hear his appeal until 2006. Even after being rejected by the court, Ramirez continued to file appeals for several more years. During the appeals process, Richard Ramirez met a woman named Doreen Leoe, who exchanged letters with him. In 1996, Ramirez married Leoe despite being on death row. "He's kind, funny, and charming," Leoe said a year later. "I think he's a very wonderful person. He's both my best friend and my lover." Most people couldn't understand Leoe's thoughts. To the many Californians who lived in fear throughout the 1980s, Ramirez was nothing short of a devil. Richard Ramirez eventually died from complications of B-cell lymphoma in 2013, at the age of 53. While alive, Ramirez never showed remorse for his crimes. Instead, he seemed to take pleasure in them. Ramirez said after being sentenced to death,
"One final comment for the media.
Big deal. That's always
See you in Disneyland.